Then who kick off, kicking from right to left. We'll bring you the teams just as soon as we have them. Argentina in blue and white stripes and white shorts. Paraguay in red and white stripes and blue shorts. There's the Paraguay side. Young Neffa still playing up front. Mendoza has been brought back into the side there, looking through that. Still with Zabala and Delgado, the two central defenders. So it's much the same side as they fielded in the tournament. And there is Argentina. And in fact, Maradona is not in the starting lineup. So a big disappointment for us, for the crowd, of you watching at home too, I would think. In fact, it did seem to me that Burruchaga had the captain's armband on. So there indeed is Burruchaga. So he has taken over the captaincy from Maradona. That's a big disappointment though, Don.
Well, it is, yes, and I've also noticed that they've virtually got a new defence. They've left out Ruggeri, Cochifo, Brown. The centre-backs didn't play well in the last game. It looks as though he's experimenting to give some new young players experience in the centre-back position.
Argentina, of course, don't have to qualify for the World Cup as defending champions, but they'll be looking there, as Don says, to experiment, to find the right blend, the right balance before they defend their title in Italy next year. Paraguay hoping to be there too. They've got to come through a qualifying group. In the meantime, it won't do them any harm at all to finish third in this competition, and Paraguay maybe just might have the edge on Argentina in terms of endeavour. We'll see how much the Argentine coach has managed to lift his players. They certainly had a better second half against Uruguay, didn't they?
Well, they stepped it up. I mean, they were losing 1-0 at half-time. It looked as though they had a sort out in the dressing room, and the manager must have said, hey, come on, let's get the ball forward. They played a hell of a lot of passes in the centre of the pitch in the first half. They got the ball forward, and they had a couple of chances. And obviously, because they were throwing it, they got caught on the break for the second goal, and that was the end of them.
So it's a fairly cautious start by both teams. A lot of changes in the Argentine side, certainly. They forced a corner with 3 minutes of the first half gone. The crowd building up. I would think many will be arriving during this game in readiness for the climax to the tournament. Brazil against Uruguay. What a prospect that is for the final game of the tournament. Both these teams have yet to score a goal then. Let's hope we get one or two in this game. As Balbo heading it clear. Trujillo, 19 here for Argentina. Calderon. He was left out of the last game, but played against Brazil. Free kick to Paraguay. Beaten 3-0 in both their matches, but certainly against Uruguay they had chances. Rather outclassed in the end by Brazil, whose finishing was quite superb. And the question is really, will Brazil find Uruguay a much tougher nut to crack? That we'll find out later on. In the meantime, let's settle down and enjoy this first match here. Paraguay against Argentina. This is Mendoza, leading goal scorer for Olympia, the Asuncion club. We got through to the final of the World Club Championship, the South American Club Championship rather, and lost out to the Colombian champions. Paswaldo seems to have staked a claim for a regular place in the side now. Gouache, all given away. Sanabria. Throw to Paraguay. Very impressive in their group games. They won all their matches before meeting Brazil. Delgado. Burruchaga. He's had a year out through injury, Burruchaga. You may remember him from the '86 World Cup final in Mexico. Burruchaga here got the winning goal in that enthralling final against West Germany. We came back to 2-2, and then Burruchaga finished them off. Justi, 21, also played for Argentina in the last World Cup. Klaassen here.
Peter, I would think that with Maradona being out of the Argentinian side, it will be interesting to see how the players react to that now. Because obviously he is a controlling factor, and perhaps he restricts other players playing at times because they feel as though they have to give him the ball. With him not there, will they now say, well, I'll take the game by the scruff of the neck and show what I can do? Sometimes taking the kind of, how can I put it, the star away, sometimes let the other stars come through.
Foul there on Balbo by Delgado. Yes, I think that's perhaps what's slightly putting Marseille off. I mean, they're talking about paying out 16 million for Maradona, and I think there's a feeling among some of the officials of the club that he will become a one-man band and that they want to keep the team spirit going.
Well, a star like Maradona, obviously, is very intimidating, even for his own teammates in certain situations, because they feel as though they ought to give him the ball.
Well, here's a difficult situation for Paraguay. Defending here, but Burruchaga is there.
Well, I mean, on this free kick alone, you know Maradona would be taking this normally.
It's going to be Calderon taking it for Argentina. Fails to find Trujillo. He's a player that's quite impressed, though, Trujillo.
Trujillo's had a good tournament. In fact, he's in the Maradona style. He's kind of took over in midfield. He was doing a lot of kind of interchange of position with Maradona, and he does well on the ball. He carries the ball well. He can get free from marking in midfield. Good use of the ball.
So Paraguay attacking now. They've got Neffa down the middle. A 17-year-old striker, but the service to him not forthcoming on this occasion. Balbo is Justi. Calderon has been brought back into the Argentine side in recent months for a fairly lengthy spell out of the side. Mendoza failing to keep the ball in play. Throw to Argentina. Justi. As Don was saying, they've certainly switched around defensively. Jose Luis Brown played in the first game in the finals. He was left out for the last one. He's not in the side for this game either.
And they're virtually reconstructing midfield. I mean, Batista's out, and he's had a big influence in the midfield.
Useful ball played in then. Diaz arriving, and the goalkeeper looked in a little bit of trouble then.
That's the thing about the Paraguayans. I mean, they did that against Brazil. For some unknown reason, I mean, they defend quite well just outside the box, but they don't defend on crosses. They just lose marking. You know, instead of looking around and picking players up, they just tend to stand in the box, thinking the ball's going to come to them.
And Brazil certainly took full advantage of that. Bebeto in sparkling form in these finals. He's got 6 goals so far for Brazil. And Romario getting the other goal in that 3-0 win over Paraguay. Here's Calderon for Argentina. Given away though, Torales. Free kick to Paraguay. And it's going to be some atmosphere later on when Brazil take the field. No goals here then so far. Just over 10 minutes of the first half gone. The match that will decide who finishes third and who finishes fourth in the America Cup, the Football Championship of South America. What a bad cross in. 2 Paraguayan players arriving in the middle. Neffa there was one of them.
Well, the Paraguayans, in terms of their attitude towards getting the ball in the box, especially on crosses, like the Europeans. I mean, they don't hesitate. As soon as they get the chance, the cross goes in. With a bit of luck there, somebody could have got on the end of that one. In fact, they should have hit the target at least.
Well, as I was mentioning earlier on, they had opportunities, in particular against Uruguay, to have scored once or twice. That might have made all the difference. But Uruguay went on to beat them 3-0. So too did Brazil. Here's Basualdo for Argentina. Rather tamely hit, and the finishing has been very disappointing from Argentina. They left Canaggio out tonight, Don.
Yes. Well, that's why Calderon's on. I mean, Calderon on his day can create goals. I mean, he can go down that right side, and it looks as though they've gone for his ability and his play.
Gouache. Anchor man in midfield for Paraguay. Finding Neffa. 17 years old, Neffa. Here he is on the international stage already, and they talk in very high terms of him. And he does look, Don, to be the one forward of genuine class that they have at 17.
Yes, obviously he didn't come to the last World Cup. They've just brought him into the side, but within this tournament he's done well for himself. He's quick, he gets down the flanks, he gets in behind defenders. He's always looking to make runs, and then he gets the ball in the box.
Corner then to Paraguay, looking for the first goal, their first goal of the finals. Promising move breaks down. Monzon, the defender there for Argentina. Pedro Monzon. Comes from Independiente, the Argentine champions, and they've got quite a few players in the Argentine squad. Also one in the Paraguay side. Delgado plays for Independiente. This is Diaz. Justi. Now Basualdo, one of the newer faces in the Argentine side, being built towards the World Cup finals next year. Calderon. Young Neffa. This is Sabala for Paraguay. Paraguay, in fact, topped the first round of matches in their group. They topped the group ahead of Brazil. It was certainly An outstanding performance from Brazil against them in the earlier match in these finals. Free kick to Paraguay. Guash. Ran into Basualdo. No real pat to the game so far, Don.
No, the only thing I would say is that the Paraguayans look as though they're going to attack more down their left side. I would think the coach, having seen the Uruguay-Argentinian game, and saw that Sosa ran them down that left side, inside out. And so they're making the main thrust of their attacks down that left side, Paraguay. Because Sosa absolutely, well, he just skinned them alive down there. And that's why most of their attacking plan is coming down that left side.
And their attacking ploy here has earned them a corner. There again, the tactic of 4 or 5 players in a group. Argentina have players there with them, so they've obviously seen that one before. Comes to nothing anyway. Rather untidy defending there by Argentina. Eventually, though, away to Basualdo. Burruchaga. It quickly was Palacios. Mendoza. Neffa, a lone figure up front then. So Argentina back in possession here with Diaz, number 13. Free kick to Paraguay. Delgado. Gutierrez. First time Gutierrez has featured in the final group of matches. Burruchaga. Very nearly got caught in possession, got out of it well. Now Calderon on the search here for Argentina. Balbo outside him. And also Klassen. Good run here. Palacios. Faced by Monzon.
There's definitely a lack of pace down the Argentinian right side of the defence. I mean, Klassen got forward there to get the cross in, but when he broke down, I mean, there's no way he was going to get back. And I think the Paraguayans are very aware of that. And every time they get a chance, they're building it quick down the left-hand side, then looking to get the cross in.
Well, they forced quite a few corners in the first half.
Well, the idea of this corner is that they should all run off on different routes, but they just stand there. I mean, that group corner, really, they should all know which way they're going to go. That's the idea. I mean, get their tactics right. But all they do is virtually just stand there in a group, even when the ball's coming in.
Yes, the idea is to peel off. Really,
yes, peel off in different directions and lose the marker. Group the defenders together and then leave them.
Palacios. Calderon. Burruchaga for Argentina. Around 20 minutes of the first half gone, no goals as yet. Let's hope it's not going to stay that way. Remember, neither side has scored yet in the finals. But Paraguay were fairly free scoring in the early round. Argentina only got a couple. But Paraguay got 9 in the group games. 5 against Peru, 1 against Colombia and 3 against Venezuela before losing 2-0 to Brazil. Argentina scored 2 and conceded none. Both those goals from Caniggia, who's been left out of the side. Justi. Rather careless. A bit fortunate there, Justi, to get away with that. But it certainly needs a goal to lift the crowd, I think, here. Many of whom, of course, are waiting a little more eagerly. The game that follows, Brazil against Uruguay, to decide the America Cup. Good running by Burruchaga. Baldo's cross, the shot then from Trosdio. Justi! Driven just wide.
Well, Burruchaga's taken over the Maradona role. He's got the freedom to go back and work with his back four players, and then he's got the freedom to make runs ahead of the ball when he gets a chance there. For instance, he started that move there, and he finished up making the run into the box.
Delgado for Paraguay. Their World Cup games, Paraguay, are against Colombia and Ecuador. And even if they win that, they don't automatically qualify for the finals. They then have to play the winners of the Oceania group. But here's a chance for Argentina with Balbo. And this time the defensive play from Paraguay was secure enough. Gutierrez was there. A useful opening developing there for Balbo. And it's a corner then to Argentina. Huge gaps, as you can see, among the seats at the moment on the terracing. I'm sure they'll be a lot fuller later. When Brazil, their heroes, take the field. Zabala to Delgado. All rather laboured here from Paraguay, and in the end the ball going back to the goalkeeper anyway, which is where they started from. It's a game that certainly needs an injection of pace, life, whatever. Something to get the crowd on their feet. Here's Neffa. Free kick given to Paraguay. Foul on Franco. Tackle from Balbo. It's an unfair one. The free kick. Free header really for Palacios.
He should have done better, Peter. I mean, it's right in the middle of the box. All he's got to do is get on target. He misheaded it. It seemed to come off his shoulder in the end. I mean, there's all blue and white shirts around him, and no one wants to mark him.
Well, a chance then for Paraguay. Their first genuine opportunity, I think, of the game so far. This is Diaz for Argentina. Diaz from the Rosario Central Club in Argentina. One of the players who's missed out, really, with the European-based men coming back. Trosdio sliding it through. Baldo can't get there. Gutierrez. Delgado. Now Calderon for Argentina. A lot of competition for places in the Argentine side, so there'll be a few out there wanting to impress. Burruchaga taking over the captain's role from Maradona. Not exactly the easiest man in the world to replace, but as Don Howe was saying earlier on, perhaps it Might just be interesting to see how Argentina perform without Maradona. I suppose Don, some might look instinctively for him all the time. This is the problem.
Yeah, but at the same time, it takes away this one-man team situation.
Poor corner then from Calderon.
And there's no one then just dictating where the ball's got to go all the time. I mean, players can express themselves. He's the break down the left side again with pace. And he was body checked. Terrible foul in the end. I mean, he was doing them. That was another kind of a Sosa run, the Uruguayan player. There's definitely a lack of pace down the right side of the Argentinian defence.
Well, Neffa threatened to go clear then. Sensini crudely holding him back. And little Neffa, who's only around 5'4", has got tremendous pace. And at 17, what a prospect. Bad tackle then by Sensini.
It would be interesting to see whether the referee books anyone here. I mean, in this country, that would be an automatic booking. I mean, there's no way to get away with that.
I think I saw the yellow card.
Yes, good.
Deservedly so.
When players get blocked like that, it's just a bad foul.
And all they've got for it was a free kick, just a few yards inside the Argentine half. What has the referee given here?
It was inside the box.
Well, I think he may well have given a penalty, has he? Or just on the edge of the area. It's a lot of confusion out there at the moment. Let's look again at that.
Definitely inside the box.
Comes off an arm. He certainly punched it clear, the Argentine defender. And that was inside the area. Well, I think he's given it right on the line, but...
Well, he should at least consult his linesman. If he couldn't see from that angle, he should go across to his linesman and say, hey, was this player in the box?
Well, the referee doesn't have the benefit of an action replay, as we have, but that certainly looked to us to be inside the area.
He's got the linesman looking across the pitch there, Peter.
It's still a dangerous situation for Argentina. They've got a 5-6-man wall. And the referee still not happy that that wall is far enough back. Ball curled round by Mendoza. And disappointingly way over the bar for Paraguay. Mendoza, though, has shown he's a prolific goal scorer for Paraguay, for the Olympic Club of Asuncion. Leo. Balbo came on as a substitute in Argentina's second game against Uruguay.
The Argentines seem to lack real quality up front. I mean, they're trying out different players all the time. I mean, Baldo's in, then Calderon's in, then Canigia, then Burruchaga. They look short of good front players. I don't know whether there's any more in Europe or somewhere playing abroad, but there's no quality up front for Argentina anymore.
Valdana, of course, was the man from Mexico who played in the final. Valdana. I think they feel he's too old now, so they haven't really replaced him, have they? Paraguay on the ascendancy again. Free kick, though, given against Franco. Alvaro Moreno is a striker that we haven't seen yet. He's been a regular goal scorer. In fact, has played in the national team, but he's not featured in the final games. Perhaps we'll see him later. Diaz. Calderon. Surely obstructive. Well, no, the referee allowing play to go on in Paraguay's favour.
Well, that's a different outlook, you see, in South American football and European football. I mean, that would just be an obstruction. That would be a foul again for obstruction.
It's hard to see, really, how he could reach any other decision, but there we are. That's a foul. And that's Sensini again. He's got to be careful. He's already been cautioned. So I was saying about Alvaro Moreno. He's the top goal scorer for Independiente, the new Argentine champions.
Well, Neffa and Branco are looking to make those runs from the centre of the pitch in behind that right back, and they're getting free every time. And they're having to foul them to stop it.
Here's the free kick. The Argentine defence not looking too happy then. Got it away in the end though. Good interception from Basualdo. But again, it's a scramble at the back. And a chance here, and a good save. Opiro down well. Shot was well hit, and the goalkeeper down to smother the effort. Neffa denied.
I would think Carlos Bilardo is a little bit concerned also about the back. I mean, here again, he's trying new players in the centre of defence, looking for some kind of steadiness and good play and understanding, but he's not getting it.
Just over a half an hour gone in the first half. If you're just joining us, no goals yet in this.
But they look very vulnerable in the air.
Place.
They look very vulnerable in the air at the back. I mean, anything that goes across the box in the air, the defenders just can't cope with it.
Burruchaga. Calderon laying it off well. Balbo was in the middle and Calderon. Delgado with a beaty clearance. Yes, this virtually a playoff really for third and fourth place. The one that decides the title follows. That's Brazil against Uruguay. And I would think the tempo will step up a bit then, Don.
Oh, I think so. I mean, obviously, with the Brazilians being at home and the crowd with them, that stimulates the players, gets things going, gets the tempo up.
Translio. But from what we've seen of Argentina so far, even allowing for the fact that Maradona isn't out there tonight, they seem a long way off.
Well, that's right.
I mean, the world title.
They don't look half the team they were in the World Cup. I mean, I wouldn't be fooled by that, because 12 months can make hell of a difference, and players have a different outlook on that type of competition. But on this showing, they look as though they've got a few problems in the defence and in the attack.
Translio. Basualdo. Gouache getting the better of Translio. Mendoza. Neffa. Gutierrez for Paraguay. Goal kick though to Argentina.
Actually, the Paraguayans are in many ways an underrated side. I mean, they can play. They're not the best of markers at the back, especially in the box, but their general build-ups are pretty direct. They're looking to get the ball in the box as quick as they can.
Sloppy play then by Diaz. Fernandez. Diaz.
I mean, at the moment, you would say this, that if with on the balance of play, if a team's going to score, it's going to be Paraguay.
They're pressing again here. Good turn by Mendoza. But both sides perhaps lacking a little confidence around goal, with not having managed to score a goal so far from the matches in the final round. But here's Burruchaga now for Argentina. Good ball through. Basualdo. Shoved aside. Free kick to Argentina. exciting Argentina side from '86 when they won the World Cup in Mexico. A little bit of a feeling perhaps early on in the World Cup of '86 that they were a one-man team, and I think they showed as the tournament wore on. They had a few other players who could play as well, apart from Maradona. There's Klaassen. Calderon. Franco on the break. No foul this time. Good tackle by Basualdo. Burruchaga taking charge. Going nowhere though. One of the Paraguayan players is down injured. Really, there's still no rhythm to the game, Don, that you can put your finger on, is there?
No, I mean, really, it's for third and fourth place, but there doesn't look as though there's a hell of a lot of confidence out there. And obviously, there's a lot of this body checking. If there's any sign of danger, somebody steps across that player who's making the break and just gives a foul away.
Well, on we go with a throw then to Argentina. 0-0. Just over 5 minutes of the first half to go. Burruchaga. Easily cut out though by Delgado, who's a very competent and efficient defender. As Don was saying, they've looked a little slack at times on the marking. But Delgado is no mean defender. Justi.
What they do when they're defending, especially on crosses, they ball watch. And people come around the back of them on their blind side, and like you can always get in on the back post.
Throw to Argentina, hoping for the fillip of a goal before half-time. Will certainly raise their morale. I don't think Carlos Bilardo is going to be too satisfied with their first half showing. It's been rather lethargic, really. Shot, well saved from Diaz. Fernandez is in the right place. Ball worked across the area well, and Diaz, the goalkeeper, couldn't have had too good a view of that.
No, it was quite a good move. They couldn't get the cross in, so they came out and went across the edge of the box. And it was, I think, it's the first shot on target.
Another free kick to Paraguay. Down goes Palacios. Gouache.
I like Gouache. I think he's a good player.
Always looks very comfortable.
He's in the Dunga mould, the Brazilian. He gets hold of the ball. He's the playmaker. Can change direction with the ball.
Sanabria. Careless end to the move, though. Rather sums up the first half. 45 minutes with very few chances. Well, 40 anyway. 5 still to go. Another yellow card being brandished by the referee. Justi for Argentina. Diaz, Basualdo. Paraguay on the defensive for the moment. Delgado allows it to run through to Fernandez. noisy, but I don't think it's really in response to the game going on at the moment. I think it's more readiness for the action to come later. It's Neffa. No question of a foul then.
There's a half there. At the same time, that looks as though there was a body check there or a push. I mean, the Argentines are just, they don't know how to cope with those high balls in the box.
Certainly don't look comfortable. Well, here's Calderon now, hoping to create some problems at the other end. But there's no real fluency about Argentina. No cohesion. Certainly a gear away from the side that played so impressively in Mexico in '86. And then, as I was saying earlier on, there's a year to go yet. Who knows how well they might play 12 months from now. When it comes to the crunch in Italy, Gutierrez, good run from him. Chance on the edge of the 6-yard area. Neffa couldn't finish it off.
Another nice move down the left side of the pitch. Nice cross as well. Headed back across goal. Unlucky not to get on the end of it.
Free kick to Argentina. Taken by Burruchaga. Here he is now. Franslio. There's Klassen outside him. Franslio's gone into the middle. Burruchaga here. As support from Justi and Basualdo. Calderon. Calderon now, hoping a way to goal might open up for him. Paraguayan defence stands firm. Palacios on the break. He's got the free kick. It's been a first half really of stops and starts. So many free kicks. Only a couple of what you would call nasty fouls, but a lot of niggling.
Yeah, a lot of body checking, a lot of obstruction. I mean, that's the continental way. If someone looks as though he's going to be beaten, if a defender thinks he's going to be beaten, he steps across the path of the player going through.
Franco. It's Gouache. Now Mendoza. There's the lunging tackle again.
I mean, Mendoza's been knocked down about 6 times now. I mean, this must be about the 6th free kick they've had on that left side of the box.
So, another free kick for Paraguay. Potentially a good situation for them. Pompidou will want that wall ahead of him to be in the right position, to be perfectly placed to defend this free kick taken now. There's the header on and flashes wide. It was Neffa, I think, who flicked the ball across. Anxious moment there for Pompidou.
They really can't afford to give those free kicks away, because every time the ball comes across the box, it looks as though Paraguay's going to get on the end of it. And yet they are still giving those free kicks around the box. It's taking a hell of a chance. They always seem to be impatient, the Argentinians, when they're making tackles. Instead of perhaps if the players first, the forwards first, instead of getting down and jockeying and waiting to put their foot in the right time, it's as though like they think, oh, I'm going to be beaten here, I better chop him down, I better body check him.
We're now into time added on for stoppages in the first half as Delgado breaks out of defence for Paraguay. He's kept going too. There he is, struggling to get back and fouling his man in the process. In the last few seconds then of this first half, And it looks as if it's going to end goalless, unless something rather dramatic happens before the referee blows his whistle for half-time. This is Diaz for Argentina. And there is the end of the first half. The crowd a little restless, and I think understandably so. It hasn't been the most attractive of first halves. Few chances at both ends, but nothing really that will have excited the crowd. Paraguay perhaps having just slightly the upper hand. I think you feel on that too, Don Hill.
Yes, I do. It's not been the best of games, obviously, but the Paraguayans have got more team play. They look as though they know where they're going to try and get in. They look as though they're going to go down that left side, get in behind the defenders there. All they need now is to get somebody on the end of those crosses. And they are giving the Argentines a lot of problems going in there.
So there we are, that's the losers will be fourth. If it's a draw, then Argentina have a better goal difference, so they'll take third place. And there the Argentina players just taking the field. They've taken quite a while to come out, so perhaps they've had a talking to from their coach, Carlos Bilardo. Paraguay have been out on the field for 2 or 3 minutes now, awaiting their opponents. We're just looking there to see whether Maradona might have come out. He didn't feature in the first half. And if he is still available for selection on the bench, perhaps they might think about bringing him on, although if he'd watched the first half, Don, he might not be too keen.
No, I don't think so. I think he'd look at that and it would turn him off a little bit. Let's just hope they've had plenty of sugar in their tea at half-time and it gives them a little bit more energy to get round the pitch. The Paraguayans, I would think, would be quite happy about the first half. I would just, you know, they'd be thinking, let's get one in. Come on, we're going forward. We got them for pace. Let's get more balls in the box. Let's get more players in the box, and let's see if we can stick one in.
They just need that extra sharpness around the penalty area. Sharpness they must have showed in the group games with 9 goals. So far, they've not managed to get one past Pompidou here. It looks as if the Argentines have made a substitution, bringing on Moreno, who I was mentioning in the first half, number 2 there. Alexandro Alfaro Moreno, we'll call him Moreno for short. Plays for Independiente, their leading goal scorer, the champions of Argentina. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do, Don.
Well, I still think he can't be happy with his front players. I mean, he's trying everybody now. Now it's what's his name? Moreno, he's on now. That's another player. Now, I mean, this must be at least 6 in the last 2 games.
Just a reminder for any of you just tuning in, this the appetizer for what is to be the main course later in the evening. Brazil against Uruguay, the match to decide the title. Both teams have won their first 2 games, Brazil and Uruguay, 5 goals, haven't conceded any. It promises to be a very exciting climax to this tournament. In the meantime, we're still waiting for the first goal here, and we won't get one that way.
At least they've got the right idea, Paraguay. I mean, there, Delgado he's injured now. He made a good break from the back. I mean, he's a centre-back, and he just went through, tried to play a 1-2 to get in the box, tried to get on the return, and took a bit of a knock. But at least it's the right outlook. At least they're aggressive in their tactics.
Delgado, the captain of Paraguay, coming up to 30 now, around 50 caps for his country. He's played in Brazil for Vasco da Gama and for Olimpia Asuncion of Paraguay, but now with Independiente of Argentina. Diaz. Argentina now attacking the goal to our right in the second half. Delgado here for Paraguay. Neat control. Neffa. Got a fine touch, hasn't he, young Neffa? We talk about him as being the new Maradona. One or two similarities there.
He's a very lively player here. He's prepared to look for space. He's prepared to make runs from the centre of the pitch into wide positions just to find some space and set things up.
And with just 17 years to his name, he's got a long way to go yet, but plenty of time. Tronchlio. The ball back with Pompidou of Real Betis in Spain. His team have just been relegated. He stayed on to help them avoid the drop. But they failed to do so. By the time he joined up with the Argentine party, it was with the prospect of facing Division 2 football in Spain next season. Neffa. Stadium certainly beginning to fill up now. Latecomers arriving in readiness for the big game later on. Now, can Argentina create something here? Tronchlio. This is Moreno. Couldn't keep the ball in play though. Challenged by Delgado. So Balbo and Moreno, the front two now for Argentina. Calderon has gone off. Osvaldo. This is Diaz. Burruchaga taking on the Maradona role. Galdo's pass, good return ball from Tronchlio. Well, how did he miss it? The Paraguayans appealing for offside, but there was no flag then.
It just seemed to bounce and skip over his leg. As he put his leg out, it just seemed to take a bounce and go over the top. How he missed, I don't know.
A lovely move. Alex Moreno there. And how did he miss that one? Well,
he's the new lad who's just come on at half-time. I mean, they played a lovely 1-2. Big Balbo played a lovely 1-2 to get in the back of the Paraguayan defence and put a nice cross in. They were very unlucky that the bounce, for some no reason, kicked up and it went over his outstretched leg.
Well, that's, I would think, the best move they've produced so far in this game, Argentina. The Paraguayans felt they should have had an offside decision. It wasn't given. And Moreno, leading goal scorer for Independiente, couldn't add to his tally. Well, that will give them heart. And here's Baldo, checked by Delgado, but the referee has given the free kick.
Every time there's a chance of somebody going to get beaten, the defender looks as though he's going to get beaten. He just steps across the path of the forward.
Baldo, I think, fancied that one. He had a chance to go past Delgado. And might well have taken him for pace then. Monzon for Argentina. Very close to a first goal. Remember, they haven't scored any in the final matches, although they did get a couple in the group games. And that was enough to secure their place in the last four. Here's Basualdo. Burruchaga gone down the middle. Baldo was waiting too. And Burruchaga has forced the corner off his opposite number, Delgado. He's a tough and competitive defender. Not too much gets past him, and he's very brave.
They're reaching well as well. I mean, He's not only strong and can play, but he read that through ball very, very well and had to be brave to go and throw his head in there to give the corner away.
Free kick though, for an infringement in that penalty area, taken by Sabala. Translio. Promising spell this for Argentina. Can they turn that advantage into a goal? Moreno. Burruchaga. Fernandez held on. But it's a livelier period now for Argentina. And we remember from the game against Uruguay, they came out looking a lot brighter.
Yeah, the second half they picked it up, yeah, and they've definitely picked it up this second half.
Neffa's header.
They're running off the ball better. They're all trying to make runs, and obviously it's because they're running off the ball, the passing's a lot better.
Nearly 10 minutes of the second half gone. It's still Argentina 0, Paraguay 0. Rather untidy at the back. And Sensini was very nearly in trouble then. All got a bit casual. But Argentina can breathe again. This is Klassen from the Sion club in Switzerland. Translio. Moreno's pass. Now Burruchaga. Gosh. Delgado. Rather sold short though is Burruchaga. Balbo trying to get in, and Fernandez quickly out to thwart the danger. With the pass. Mendoza. Paraguay stringing their passes together here, but not really making any inroads into the Argentine defence. Neffa sprinting down the flank. Good tackle. That was from Monzon.
He's a big, strong boy, that Monzon. He really puts his foot in and means it.
Fair tackle, though.
Lean and mean.
Here come Argentina now with Burruchaga. Balbo. He's created a few problems with his front running. Past Balbo. Now Balbo. Translio going in, but still no opportunity coming the way of Argentina. They're pressing hard here now. Burruchaga. Translio. Fernandez was there again. As the Mexican wave breaks out around the stadium. Argentina very nearly take the lead then. Translio working hard. Good save by Fernandez.
The Argentinians have definitely got them going now. I mean, if they can keep it up, if they keep the pressure on, they should get a goal out of it.
Well, they've got some defending to do first. No, the whistle's gone. Free kick. It's been given by the referee. And the free kick to Argentina. Burruchaga. Mendoza with a timely interception. So too was Sensini's.
That's what they tend to do, the Argentinians. It's just like a boxer who's just hit the fella and he's got him on the ropes, and instead of going in for the kill, they step away, and that's what the Argentinians do. You think they're going to get a goal in, then all of a sudden they want to fiddle about on the halfway line instead of getting the ball forward.
Palacios, and the corner conceded. So Paraguay, having survived that little flurry of pressure from Argentina, are now seeking a goal themselves. Still 0-0 here. Nearly a quarter of an hour gone in the second half. Those of you just joining in, it's Paraguay against Argentina. Paraguay in the red and white stripes here, attacking the goal of Pompidou of Argentina.
See, that's the strength of teams here like Liverpool, is if they've got you under pressure. You know, they don't back off and play in their own half. They all push up into your half and you can't get out, and they keep you under pressure and keep you under pressure, and obviously goals come from it.
Throw to Argentina. In fact, a free kick. There again, the wave that we saw so often in the Mexico World Cup. Certainly Argentina's day then, when they won the final against West Germany. They've missed out here in the America Cup. They're going to have to settle for third or fourth place. The winners will be either Brazil or Uruguay, and they're on right after this game.
There's going to be some atmosphere in that stadium.
Certainly a buzz around the stadium now. You can sense it. Mendoza, free kick there will have to be taken again.
I mean, having been lucky enough to play there and also go there with England teams, I mean, it's some stadium. I mean, I don't know what the capacity will be tonight, but I would think it's in excess of 100,000.
Certainly going to be a massive crowd. Free kick offside. An infringement anyway, certainly in Argentina's favour.
It's given indirect free kick, so I would think it was offside.
Firecrackers now around this huge stadium.
He's not the most positive of referees, is he?
No, one or two moments of indecision, and the players have looked a bit confused at times. No doubt, though, about the state of the game. Still 0-0, but here's Tronchlio. And I think if anyone's reputation has stayed intact for Argentina, it's Tronchlio's.
Yes.
Yes, certainly impressed, isn't he?
In general, he's been well involved and on the ball, wanting to go forward with it, either running with it or passing it forward.
And those of you who may not have been with us for the start of the game, you'll need to know that Maradona is not playing for Argentina. Left out of the side. He's complained of feeling tired, and he has played an awful lot of matches, not only with Argentina, but of course with Napoli too. Napoli winners of the UEFA Cup. They finished second in the Italian league. So it has been a very busy campaign for Maradona, and so much is expected of him every time he takes the field, and he's opted out of this one. But he'll have seen his team at least improve in the second half so far. Unable to.
Well, Maradona's talking about being tired, and he says his legs are heavy and all this, but he's going to go back now to pre-season training at Napoli.
He's had injury problems too, hasn't he? He's had the back trouble. And there is enormous pressure on him, people expecting expect something from him every time he plays, and although he wasn't at his best in the game against Uruguay, he produced that incredible moment when he hit the bar from inside the centre circle. And there's no doubt about it, the man is quite extraordinary.
I think that moment will be shown a few times on television over the next year or so.
And we can expect to see it practiced at Don's club, Queen's Park Rangers, throughout the pre-season training.
Why not? With the goalkeepers playing out so far off their line now, it's possibly, it could be done.
Moreno for Argentina. And the referee waving play on despite the protests from the Argentine players that they should have had a free kick. Mendoza, who's very nimble.
Checked on his 1-2 again, do you see it? He's playing a 1-2 with a partner, and straight away to try and get on the return ball, they've gone across his path. The referee spotted it, which is nice.
And a yellow card
and
too.
A yellow card.
Foul on Mendoza. Mendoza, who scored twice in this tournament, and many times for Olympia Asuncion, runners-up in the South American Club Championship. That's the wall. No real power behind the shot. No problem for a goalkeeper with the class of Pompidou. Justi for Argentina. 0-0, and we're coming up to 20 minutes in the second half. Basualdo. Burruchaga. Klassen, Burruchaga again. Klassen outnumbered in the end, but still has the throw. Moreno. Burruchaga. Touched off for Basualdo. Good save by Fernandez.
They should be doing that more often, the Argentinians. They should be getting those balls into the back post, because they do ball watch. And then they've got the choice then to either just lay it off to another supporting player or do it themselves. Why they haven't done it more often, I don't know.
Well, they've certainly created more opportunities in the second half, have Argentina. And they're attacking again now with Burruchaga. Balbo down the middle, Delgado cutting out the run. Such an intelligent and composed defender. Mendoza. Roslio. Always prepared to take the opposition on. Burruchaga. Moreno. The atmosphere really building around the stadium now. Everybody here eagerly anticipating the match to follow. Brazil against Uruguay. Brazil very impressive in their 3-0 win over Paraguay in the last game. 2-0 they beat Argentina. But you certainly can't rule out Uruguay. They got 3 against Paraguay and 2 against Argentina. Klaassen. Troglio. Here's Burruchaga. The Argentines have a man down, but here's Klaassen now. Looking to stretch the Paraguay defence down the flank.
Because there's so much kind of space in midfield, because the teams don't play offside and they don't push up from the back, the tendency, instead of using the space to play forward from and to get the ball forward, they tend to use the space to make 2 or 3 passes that you think, well, why? You know, that ball could have gone forward. You know, the extra space they've got that really we could do with a little bit in this country because we squeeze up from the back. Instead of used in a positive manner, they used in a manner to keep making 2 or 3 passes. And you think, well, why? Like there's a pass to a defender. Well, that defender could have played it himself.
Palacios was the Paraguayan player, trying to make his presence felt in the penalty area. Troglio still working very hard. It's his pass along the flank then to Alfaro Moreno. And the decision in Argentina's favour. They're trying to bring on Gorosito. In fact, they've got him on there now. So that's the second substitution for Argentina. Alfaro Moreno coming on at the start of the second half, and now Gorosito as well. So Maradona won't be featuring in this game. We've been speculating about his fitness or his lack of interest or whatever, but of course he may well be injured. That hasn't been revealed by Bilardo, the Argentine coach. As Palacios goes down.
Check.
There again. Just not prepared to let him go on.
Check.
Sensini again, not for the first time. And a stronger referee might well have taken stronger action against one or 2 of the Argentine defenders. Certainly Sensini has already been booked. Mendoza with the free kick. Safely through. Yes, I thought it was. Well,
actually, the general understanding between Pompidou and his defenders has been poor, even in the games before this. I know he's come from a club that's been relegated, so I suppose his confidence is not the highest.
Here's Mendoza with the corner then for Paraguay. It fell kindly for Argentina. The clearance wasn't too good though, but here's Balbo. Now for Alfaro Moreno to get his name right. He's got himself in 1 or 2 useful positions and I suppose had the most clear-cut chance of the game when the ball bobbled unkindly for him around the 6-yard area with an open goal facing him. Basualdo for Argentina. Gorosito. Burruchaga's gone down the middle. Here's Balbo. And the shot deflected for the corner.
That's been another disappointing thing, Peter, is the general standard of shooting from around the edge of the box. I mean, they're renowned for bending balls and chipping balls, and yet we haven't seen anything, any outstanding ability at all in shooting.
There's the corner. Time for Delgado, who looks fairly unruffled by it all. Justi. Troglio couldn't get there. Mendoza on the break for Paraguay. And then a disastrous finish. Well, he's a player who must have shown confidence around the goal, having scored so many goals this season in club football.
Well, there again, I mean, I suppose we don't know the quality of the pitch. That pitch can be quite poor, and from a distance it looks okay. There are kind of holes and kind of marks in it all the time, because I do use it a lot. But the general standard of shooting has been very poor.
Troslio. Moreno. But Argentina with plenty of players back to deny Paraguay on the break. And here is Gorosito for Argentina. Just over a quarter of an hour to go, still 0-0.
Also, because the teams are so stretched, because sweepers go deeper and defenders kind of, as soon as they lose the ball, go back on the edge of their own box, is that sometimes, because they don't push up, they don't support their front players quick enough. You know, they have to build up slow to try and get that support into the front players.
Well, Argentina had a promising spell soon after half-time, but they seem to have faded again now, and Paraguay will still feel they've got chances to win this game. Of course, if they do so, they will finish third in the America Cup, behind Brazil and Uruguay, who meet after this game to settle the title. Just so wide, only just though. Pompidou beaten.
Well, they've always looked vulnerable in the air. They can't cope with any high balls in the box. Ball to the back post, headed back into the centre of goal. The second header really should have hit the target.
Well, that will lift Paraguay. Delgado. Argentina, of course, the defending world champions, so Paraguay won't be too despondent at their showing. But Argentina clearly have a lot of work to do yet if they're to successfully defend their world title next year in Italy. Moreno. Offside.
That's the first one, Peter. Perhaps the second.
Not too many offsides in the game, which is one pleasing factor anyway. But the game overall has been disappointing, and with no disrespect to these teams, I think they're going to see a much better game in the one that follows. Brazil and Uruguay both hitting top form in their first two matches. Uruguay perhaps a little flattered by the scoreline against Paraguay. They won 3-0. But they played well, and they were too strong for Argentina as well. And two superb strikes by Ruben Sosa for Uruguay, which earned them their 2-0 win. Brazil had a couple of goals too from Bebeto and one from Romario against Paraguay. Justi. In the meantime, I'm still wondering here if either of these two sides can find a winning goal. Justi. Argentina keeping possession, but not really making much progress. Right, tired looking pass then from Burruchaga. Mendoza beaten in the tackle. Off goes Balbo, taking on Delgado. Still Balbo at the pace to get away from him. Now can he finish it off here? Well, he was waiting for support.
Yeah, there was lack of support. He wanted to get it across the box. He looked a couple of times.
He could be in here. Still Balbo. Fernandez with a fairly comfortable catch as Moreno came in marauding behind him.
He's a big goalkeeper. I mean, to chip him, you've got to go right to the back post. I mean, he looks about 6'2", 6'3". To chip him, you've got to really stick it on the back post.
And it was a measure of the quality of the Brazilian goals against him, really.
Yes.
That fellow was a pretty confident goalkeeper. Made one mistake in the game against Uruguay. Here's Burruchaga. And he's looked fairly sound otherwise, and as I was saying, it's really the quality of the Brazilian goals that stood out.
Well, most of the crosses the Brazilians got in, they got in from the byline, which were moving away from him.
We've had all but 11 minutes now of this game, which still is goalless. Zabala with the goal kick for Paraguay. Stay with us for the highlight to come. Brazil against Uruguay. That'll be kicking off just a few minutes after this one finishes. Delgado here for Paraguay, their captain. Justi.
When you see games like this, you wonder whether it's worth playing for a third and fourth place. You know, is it worthwhile? I mean, there's a good crowd in there, but that's not for this game. You know, if this game had been anywhere else, there wouldn't have been anyone there. You know, you just wonder whether it's worthwhile. Players have had enough. They've been through the tournament. They really don't want it.
Burruchaga for Argentina. I suppose as it's being played on a league basis,
yes,
they had to carry on with it, and as it's turned out, it's virtually a third and fourth playoff and a match for the final. But
yes,
that wasn't
I think
the intention.
The best thing about it for me, Peter, is it's being played on the same day of the final, and it's a double header for the crowd. So obviously that they're getting twice the value for their money, the crowd.
Well, originally they were going to play this 1 second.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
At least they've had the sense to turn that round.
I don't think there'll be many in the stadium after the big game.
Well, there are plenty here now awaiting that match while this one draws to its conclusion.
I think that's a good idea, because obviously it will mean people will come earlier because they know there's the first game on, and they're not just standing there kind of looking into space. They've got something to watch, so it gets the crowd in early. And really, it ought to stimulate the players, because there's a lot of people in that stadium now.
Gorosito for Argentina. Just under 10 minutes to go. Moreno. He's carried on here, but to no avail. And in the end, resorted to illegal tactics. Pass was from Sanabria. Free kick to Paraguay. Franco wants to take it. Very warm in the stadium. Players appear to be feeling the heat. Certainly some tired legs out there. It's been a long tournament for them with the qualifying round as well. 3 matches in the final series in the space of 5-6 days. Closlio. He's kept working, beavering away. World Cup places up for grabs, no doubt. It's Gorosito. Well, there'll be one or two in this side who won't be certain of their places, Don.
No, I mean, the way they played in this tournament, I would think they'd all be thinking, you know, what are we going to do? It's not been the greatest success for the Argentinian team.
And just 2 goals in the whole of the tournament.
Yeah.
That's from 7 matches now.
That's very poor. Like I say, he keeps trying out a new kind of an attack.
Great run by Delgado, which was ended unfairly. So free kick to Paraguay as we move towards the last 5 minutes of the game. Loves to come searching through from the back, Delgado.
Sure.
They weren't too keen to let him continue. We're Argentina. Going well. Balbo. Burruchaga. Oh, what saved by Fernandez. Gorosito.
Well, that was a little bit more aggressive. I mean, Moreno made all the good run down that left wing. Nice cross to the back post. Headed back. Good shot, good save.
So, fine goalkeeping by Fernandez to keep the score level at 0-0. But Argentina have had quite a few chances now in the second half. And they'll be disappointed that they haven't gone on to win this game, if indeed it does finish 0-0. Justi. But they're looking for a winner now. Basualdo. Burruchaga couldn't get through. Can Paraguay catch them on the break? Ball was still in play. Tackle from Sensini was strong enough. Gorosito. Moreno. Good cross. Oh! Balbo so nearly turned it in. Very similar situation to the one a few moments ago when he headed the ball back. This time he didn't quite get there. But again, it was the run from Moreno down the left flank. Fernandez rather flapping at it then.
Well, it looked as though the cross might beat him just inside the far post, and he got a touch on it, the keeper. And big Balbo come in the back of it. They were unlucky there. I think what it does prove here, Peter, is that perhaps Argentina were not half the team without Maradona.
Well, we did ask the question before then.
That's right. I mean, you would think that these players would say, hey, come on, let's get out there and show the man's what we're made of.
Well, there's a yellow card here with 5 minutes of the match remaining. So whether the referee felt there was a bit of time wasting there, seems a rather strange decision at this stage with teams level at 0-0. Both sides will want to find a winner if they can, or perhaps Paraguay, the referee feels now, are settling for a draw. Substitution being made. Mendoza going off. I think it was Brites they were trying to bring on. Paraguay. They've got a free kick now. We're near the end of this game. Populo clambering for it and holds on well. Basualdo. Argentina seemingly in no hurry to take the free kick themselves, so perhaps they're not unhappy with a goalless draw, although they've had the opportunities, as we were saying, in the second half to have won it.
And no goal draw is no good for them either, Peter. I mean, the Argentinians, I mean, they've got to beat Paraguay to finish third. I mean, on goal average.
No, in fact, they will be third, Argentina.
Oh, yes.
They've conceded one goal less, so if they're deciding third and fourth place in that way, which I imagine they are, Argentina in fact will finish second, which is why it seemed a little surprising that the referee thought Paraguay were time wasting. A goalless draw would mean they'd finish last in this final round. Anyway, they haven't given up hope of finding a goal yet. Franco just headed away at the last moment then. But Argentina still under pressure as we move into the last minute of the game. Is it going to finish 0-0? Or can one of these teams produce a winner? Cross easy for Pompidou. The referee is unhappy about something here. Trying to make himself understood.
What is it, too many steps or? It is.
Looks like it.
Or not out the box, not out the box.
Ball didn't go out the area. The Argentines.
Well, if it's not out the box, it's a free kick. Yeah, he's right. I mean, it didn't go out the box. He caught the ball and it should go out the box.
Here it is, inside that area. So, it's a free kick to Paraguay. We're in injury time now. Are we going to have a dramatic winner here for Paraguay? The referee indicating there where he wants the Argentine wall to be. A little bit of jostling going on in the penalty area. There's danger here for Argentina. Pompidou, and they've survived it. A long chase upfield for Moreno. He claimed he was fouled. Referee has taken the opposite view, and in fact just given the throw to Paraguay. Whistles from the crowd. The match is almost over, and the Brazilians in the crowd, the majority of course, can't wait to see their side in action in the final game of the America Cup, the one that will settle it all. Brazil against Uruguay. The referee has blown the final whistle. It ends in a 0-0 draw. One has to say a disappointing match overall. No goals, more chances perhaps in the second half. Argentina certainly had opportunities to have won it. And the one from Alfaro Moreno, which bobbled so unkindly for him, at least we've given him the benefit of the doubt by saying it was a bobble. Yep. That really the best chance of the game that went begging.